Welcome to the deep dive. We've got some really interesting sources from you this time, all sort of focusing on how we connect, how we learn together.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
So today we're going to get into the science, the neuroscience, really, behind good collaboration.
Right, and specifically using this technology called fNRS.
fNRS, okay?
Okay.
Functional near-infrared spectroscopy. Bit of a mouthful.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
fNIRS is much easier, and it basically lets researchers look at brain activity while people are actually interacting
In real time.
in real time. And it's portable, relatively non-invasive compared to, say, fMRI.
Which is huge for studying something social, right? You can't easily collaborate inside a giant magnet tube.
Exactly. It opens up studying interaction in much more natural ways.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive, unpack what this fNRS research is telling us about how our brains work when we collaborate well,
Yeah.
especially in education, since the sources lean that way.
Sounds good.
So let's start right there. What is fNRS exactly? And why is it the right tool for looking at collaboration?
Okay, so at its core, fNIRS uses light, specifically near-infrared light.
Light we can't see.
Right, just outside the visible spectrum. It shines this light into the scalp, and then it measures how much light comes back out.
And that tells you what?
It tells you about changes in blood flow, and specifically blood oxygenation in the outer layers of the brain, the cortex.
Okay, blood flow. How does that relate to brain activity?
Well, when a part of your brain gets more active, it needs more fuel, right? More
Right.
oxygen.
Uh-huh.
So more oxygenated blood rushes to that area. fNRS picks up on those changes in oxygen levels in the blood.
Ah, so it's an indirect measure. You're not seeing the neurons fire.
Exactly. You're seeing the consequence, the increased demand for oxygenated blood where the activity is happening. It's like seeing where the traffic is heaviest to figure out where things are busy.
That's a neat analogy.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the how. What about the why? Why is this good for collaboration studies? You mentioned portability.
Portability is the big one. Traditional brain imaging, like fMRI, needs people to be incredibly still inside a massive, noisy machine.
Not exactly conducive to a team meeting.
Not at all. But fNRS systems, they can be wearable, like caps or headbands, so people can sit, talk, move around a bit, actually do tasks together.
In a more natural setting.
Much more natural. Plus, it tends to be, less expensive than fMRI, which means more labs can actually do this kind of research. We can observe brains working together much closer to how they do it in the real world.
That really does sound like a game changer for studying social interaction. Now, one source you sent was a review paper, right? Looked at about 60 fNIRS studies on collaboration.
That's the one. A systematic review. Gives a great overview of the field.
What did it find? What are the big picture trends? Like, is this a growing area?
Definitely growing. The review pointed out a clear increase in these kinds of publications over recent years.
So researchers are really jumping on this.
Seems like it. It suggests the method is proving useful. And the questions about collaborative brain function are gaining traction. It's moving beyond just a niche interest.
Okay, growing field. What else did the review cover? Who are they studying?
A range of age groups, actually, from children up to adults.
Which is important, right? How kids work together must be different neurologically than, say, adults on a work project.
You'd think so, yeah. Development plays a huge role in collaborative skills and the brain functions supporting them, so studying across the lifespan is key.
Makes sense. And the studies themselves, are they typically big or small?
Well, like a lot of research, sample sizes vary. The review probably gives averages.
But compiling 60 studies gives us more confidence overall.
Absolutely. That synthesis is the power of a review. It helps smooth out the limitations of any single study and highlights the consistent findings.
Did it mention the gear? The different fNIRS devices?
It did touch on that. There are variations, in how many sensors, where they're placed. That affects what brain areas you can monitor and maybe the detail you get. It's good context for understanding the methods being used.
Right. So we've got this growing body of research using these portable light-based sensors, looking at different ages. What are people actually doing in these experiments? What kind of collaboration tasks?
Oh, lots of different things. Really trying to capture different facets of collaboration.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, problem-solving tasks are very common. Pairs or small groups working together on maybe a puzzle or a planning challenge, something that needs shared thinking.
Okay, something with a clear goal they have to reach together.
Exactly. Then there's a lot focused on learning, especially relevant given your sources. Students may be learning a concept together, discussing imperial, even peer tutoring scenarios.
So directly looking at educational settings.
Yes. and even teacher-student interactions sometimes, capturing that dynamic in real time.
Wow. Any other kinds? More creative, maybe?
Yeah, things like collaborative drawing, trying to create one picture together, or cooperative games where you have to communicate and coordinate to win.
So tasks that really force interaction, not just working side by side independently.
Precisely. The tasks are designed to require interdependence. The review probably mentioned typical task durations too, giving a sense of the time scale they're looking at brain activity over.
Okay, so people are doing these interactive tasks, wearing the fNIRS gear. What's the big finding? What's the headline from all this research?
The headline really is this phenomenon called interbrain synchrony, IBS for short.
Interbrain synchrony. Okay, what does that mean?
It means that the brain activity patterns between the interacting individuals become coupled, they become synchronized or aligned over time.
Like their brains are getting on the same wavelength.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, their neural activity starts to show similar fluctuations in specific areas while they're engaged in the task together.
Well, our brains actually sync up.
The evidence is pretty compelling, according to that review. And it's not just random, it happens in specific brain regions.
Which ones?
Two main networks pop up consistently. The prefrontal cortex.
Okay, that's like executive functions, planning, decision-making.
Exactly. All crucial for coordinating on a task. And the other key area is the temporoparietal cortex, or the temporoparietal junction, the TPJ.
TPJ, that's involved in social stuff, right? Like understanding other people's perspectives. Theory of mind.
You got it. Social cognition, understanding intentions, empathy, things absolutely vital for smooth collaboration.
So the brain areas for high-level thinking and the areas for understanding each other are the ones syncing up.
That's what the data strongly suggests. It's like these regions are working in concert between the brains, not just within them, to facilitate the collaboration.
That makes intuitive sense, but seeing the brain data, that's cool.
It really underscores that collaboration is this deeply interactive process, neurologically speaking. It's not just adding individual efforts together.
Okay, so brains sync up. Does it? Does it matter? Does more synchrony mean better collaboration? Is there a link to performance?
Yes, that seems to be the next crucial piece. The review indicated a relationship there.
Okay.
Higher levels of this interbrain synchrony, particularly in those prefrontal and temporoparietal areas, often correlate with better outcomes on the collaborative task.
So if our brains sync up more effectively,
We tend to perform better together, whether that's solving the problem faster, learning the material more effectively, coming up with more creative solutions, whatever the task measures.
that's huge. So the synchrony isn't just happening, it seems functionally relevant.
Right. It looks like it's either reflecting or perhaps even enabling the processes that lead to successful collaboration. The better the communication, the shared understanding, the coordination.
The more the brains are in sync, and the better the result.
That seems to be the pattern emerging from these studies.
Was this link stronger for certain types of tasks? Like, does it matter what they're collaborating on?
Good question. The review likely suggested nuances there. It seems tasks that really demand tight coordination, lots of back and forth, shared understanding.
Like complex problem solving.
Exactly. Or tasks where you constantly have to adjust to your partner's actions or input. Those often show a clearer link between higher IBS and better performance, the more you truly depend on each other mentally.
The more important that neural synchrony becomes.
Plausibly, yes.
Okay, this is incredibly interesting. Let's loop back to education, since that was a focus in the sources and the review mentioned implications there. How does knowing this help us in, say, a classroom?
Well, that's the really exciting part, the potential application. If we understand these neural mechanisms,
Like the importance of synchrony in the prefrontal and temporoparietal areas.
then we can start thinking about how to design educational activities or programs to actually encourage that synchrony.
You mean we could structure group work in a way that's more likely to get students' brains in sync?
Potentially, yes. The review abstract hinted at these practical implications, didn't it? Moving beyond just hoping collaboration happens.
Yeah, it mentioned designing interventions. So could specific teaching methods foster this? Like maybe how you structure the groups or the type of communication you encourage?
That's the next logical step for research, isn't it? You could use fNIRS to test different pedagogical approaches.
Like comparing groups where everyone has a clear role versus groups where it's more free form.
Exactly. Does one structure lead to more synchrony in those key brain areas? And does that, in turn, lead to better learning? We can start asking much more targeted questions.
It makes you think differently about simple things like setting clear goals for a group project. Maybe that clarity helps align their prefrontal activity.
It's certainly possible. Or maybe instructional techniques that emphasize active listening and perspective taking could boost synchrony in the temporoparietal regions.
You could actually test that now.
You could. And think about technology too. Could online collaboration tools be designed to better support this neural alignment, even when people aren't physically together?
Facilitating synchrony through digital means. That's a bit sci-fi, but based on this, maybe not so far-fetched.
It opens up avenues to explore. The core idea is moving from just observing collaboration to actively fostering the underlying neural processes we now know are important.
That really is a potential aha moment for education, isn't it?
Mhm.
Thinking that how we set up a simple group discussion could actually be shaping brain-to-brain connections.
It adds a whole new layer, moving beyond just behavior to the neurological foundations of learning together. It can help us be more intentional in how we structure collaborative learning.
Okay, so let's try to sum this up. This deep dive into fNIRS research shows us, well, something pretty amazing. When we collaborate effectively, our brains literally show synchronized activity.
Especially in those prefrontal and temporal networks, yeah. Areas key for thinking and social understanding.
And this inner brain synchrony isn't just a cool side effect. It seems linked to how well we actually perform together, how well we learn together,
The correlation is definitely there in many studies.
which has potentially powerful implications for education, maybe helping us design learning experiences that deliberately foster this neural connection.
That's the hope, using this knowledge to create more effective collaborative environments.
It really gives you a peek under the hood, doesn't it? At the neurology of something we do all the time, working and learning with others.
Absolutely. It connects our everyday experiences of teamwork and shared understanding to concrete brain processes.
And it leaves us with a pretty big thought to chew on. If we can understand and maybe even enhance this inner brain synchrony, could that genuinely revolutionize how we approach teaching, teamwork, maybe even just getting along better?
It certainly opens up new questions. What does this neurological insight spark for you, thinking about how you collaborate or learn in groups?
Definitely something to ponder. Thanks for unpacking that with me today.
My pleasure. Fascinating topic.